But we'll get started. And we'll start with the adoption of the agenda. We have an addition of 8.2, and I'd like to add one confidential item on personnel and go from there. Is there any other additions to the agenda? Seeing none, can I get a motion to adopt the agenda? Councillor Long. Oh, sorry.
Confidential items, personnel, under what?
Well, that would be under 17.1. Okay. Are you making a motion to adopt it too? Perfect. All in favor? Carried. And we'll move on to, we don't have any scheduled delegations, but we'll check and see if Chris wants to be a public delegation. No? Okay. All right. So we'll move on then to our peace officers report. Can I get a motion on this? Councillor Gilroy.
The council received the Senior Peace Officers February 2021 report for information.
Thank you. And with that, I'll turn it over to our peace officer to give us any highlights.
Just at the bottom there on the notes, we sent out 226 dog license notices. Out of the 226, 11 tickets were issued for non-compliance, so, which is not bad. One graffiti ticket, 2 ban notices to one person for allegedly loitering and shoplifting. 1 charge under the Animal Protection Act. During our cold spell, there was a pup left outside for about an hour. So that was a charge laid. And the Solicitor General reinstated our enforcement for the Public Health Act for another 90 days.
All right.
Other than that, hope for questions.
All right. Any questions, comments from Mr. Blum? Okay. Have you had any more? I know last time you had mentioned you had some tickets or warnings. No, tickets. You had warnings and then tickets under the Public Health Act. Have you had any lately? No?
No, just a couple verbal warnings, that's it.
That's it? Okay, good. Councillor Gilroy?
How are we progressing with our search for the replacement peace officer? I know the deadline was, I think, was it the 15th or something like that?
Yeah, we had interviews yesterday, and we're just reviewing for a short list, and then we have 3 already that we are going to interview and go from there.
All right. Anything else? All right. Seeing none, thank you for your report.
Thank you.
All in favor? Carried. We'll move on to our Public Works report. Can I get a motion on this one? Councillor Daneka.
Make a motion that council receive the March 2021 Public Works Report for information.
Thank you. And I'll turn it over to Vern for any highlights you want to bring out or anything since then.
I'll just open it up for questions.
All right, Councillor Gilroy.
I notice again that we've had to disconnect. How does that work? Like, what is the procedure for that?
With disconnection notices,
Yeah.
we'll get, people don't pay their bills, we will
Okay,
get a
no.
red slip from
I'm thinking time frame, because I'd heard that someone in the community had been given a shut-off notice, and it was like pay within 2 days. So I'm just for clarification, I'm not complaining about that one. I just would like to know the time frame from when you get it to when they get it shut off.
We don't have a actual utilities clerk right now, so we try to get them, we usually get them a week in advance and give them a week to pay. As soon as we get them, we hand them out usually the following day, or even sometimes the same day as we get them from the office.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? No? I had one question, and it's around the lift station, because I understand one of our lift stations stopped working after a power bump or something, and then that caused some sewers to back up.
Yes, we had a power bump by ATCO, which killed the power, and the UPS within the control panel was malfunctioned, the backup power supply. So then the lift station didn't have any power. Even when the power come back on, the computer panel was out. And as soon as we got notification that it was going at 9 a.m. or 9:15, we went there, reset the panel, and within 20 minutes we were pumping, less than 20 minutes. And since then we have replaced that UPS.
Okay, I was just thinking that there's got to be some safeguard when those sorts of things happen, right? Especially if it happens on a weekend.
Well, it was checked. The power bump came. No alarms could call out because of the fact that there was the computer panel was down. What we're going to start doing is changing the UPSs out annually and testing them more often.
Oh, okay. Good. Anything else for Vern? No? All right. Seeing none, thank you for your report. And we have a motion to receive for information. All in favor? That is carried. We have our March 9th meeting minutes. Councillor Long?
The council approved the minutes from the March 9, 2021 regular meeting of council as presented.
All right. Is there any changes, adjustments that need to be made here? All right. All in favor? It's carried. Moving on to new business, the Regional Collaboration Group appointment. Get a motion on this one. Oh, it's all quiet here. Okay. And it's always tough because this could change, but I'm going to make a motion that council appoint myself and Councillor, and this was off the top, Courtley, to attend the Lesser Slave Lake Regional Tri-Council meetings. Now, I don't know. Yeah, thanks for the line. I'm picking one out. You can say no. I just pulled that one out because, okay. So I guess this is that group where they wanted to get a regional group together to look at what we might be able to do to work together between their Tri-Council, Big Lakes Council, or Big Lakes Council and ourselves to see if there was some regional projects that we wanted to work towards. And they were looking at a meeting. They had given us 4 dates. I'd asked them if they had nailed, when they were going to meet, at what time of day, and that kind of thing. And the only thing that they sent back was, it looks like it's going to be either April 19th or the 29th, and it would be during the day. That's all we really know. So.
The 29th was good for me, so
Oh, okay. And what about the 19th?
not so much.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, if it falls between that Wednesday, Thursday, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then it works out really well. 19th, I think, is Monday, right?
I'd have to look, yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if anybody is, really wanting to go. I don't know if Harlan wants to go. I just know that Arlen's got some times during the day. I got the sense that Brian had some commitments at some parts of the day, so I don't know.
Well, actually, in my particular case, I'm not in favor of it, so I would rather not. I do not see the benefit that we're going to get out of this, because Slave Lake I've not seen them do a lot to support us. It always seems to be the other way around, so I'm not in favor of this.
Again, it's just it's an inaugural meeting. See if there's any potential there, right? Is there something that's
Who's going for Big League
Mark's
County?
Do we know?
no? No, I don't know who's going from them.
Arnold's got his hand up, sir.
Sorry, go ahead, Arlen. I was got distracted by my phone.
Yeah, no problem. I think anytime you can collaborate with your neighbors and your local partners and stuff, I think that's a positive. What'll come out of it, I don't know, but I mean, it's worth looking at, I think. Doesn't hurt to discuss options. See what's good for the community, see what's good for the area. At the end of the day, we're neighbors, right? So it's what it is. So I don't know. I'd be willing to set some time aside to go if you need me to go.
Councillor Long?
My only reservation, my only concern is the previous conduct and issues that Slave Lake Council had regarding our neighbors as well, in regards to the First Nations comments. Have they attended any cultural sensitivity training as they said they were going to do? Or did they just let it go by the wayside?
I don't know the answer
And that
to
would
that.
be my question to them if I was there, and I don't know if that'd be appropriate. Nobody would like that. I wouldn't mind, but nobody would like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're probably, I see the benefit, I do. There's an underlying issue though, and
True.
one that was a huge concern for everybody in the area. And if they're addressing it, great. I have not heard that they have.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that either. So.
Yeah. So Arlen's good to go.
Okay, you're all right.
I see where you're going with that, Michael.
Yeah. And again, it's just an inaugural meeting.
Yeah.
We don't know if anything will come out of it. I mean, obviously, if they just want us there to support their project, it's not going to go.
Put Michael as a secondary, as an alternate, and if I can't go, then go.
I'll be on investigate. I'll try.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And just go as a educational piece and see what comes out of it. Right.
Okay, maybe I'll make a friendly amendment that it's, we'll add Councillor Long as an alternate to that committee.
Fair.
All in favor? Opposed? All right, then moving on to one of our addendums, the recreation facility update. I need a motion on this one? Councillor Courtley?
Council make the required budget adjustment of approximately $75,000 to proceed with the tile and grout work at the Aquatic Center.
Councillor Gilroy?
According to the discussion piece here, it says on March 22nd, which was yesterday, a motion was made by Arlen Courtley to make the required budget adjustment of approximately $50,000. And today you're asking the council to approve approximately $75,000. So you're saying $25,000 changed in one day?
And probably we could have, I see what's been added to this from what we talked about yesterday was the contingency. Do you have any update on why so much of a contingency on that project?
Well,
Oh, okay.
the contingency is only about 71 to 75,000, about $4,000. The actual difference is because when we were doing the estimate of 50,000, we were hoping that 20,000 would be enough for the surge tanks. We know that 30,000 is what we need for the retiling of the pool area and regrouting. That was 30,000. Today, when we spoke to the contractor about the surge tank, the cost came in higher than that. And so that's why we revised the amount. Now, we can wait for the surge tank, but I do think that there's, the term that they used was dissemination, which is like a little bit of a degrading in the base of the surge tanks, which is just one full thing. It's kind of separated, but you've got it totally, you can see the whole base at the bottom. So if you can wait, that extra 25,000, it's a different company. The tilers are one contractor. We were hoping to have it tiled, but the tile estimate today came in at 95,000 for that, instead, for just the surge tank, instead of the cost to just coat, which is estimated at 41,000 to coat the surge tanks. The what's the term? Those little areas in the pool that are concrete. So those areas would all be coated with that xylophone or whatever it's called. And so then you would have all your concrete covered and protected from your chemical and your salt, right? You got to remember that your concrete is now 15 plus years old. It's more than that, 2005 to 20, yeah, it is 15 years old. So it's at the state that you have to consider how much longer you want to leave it unprotected.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, then my follow-up on this is, according to the source funding, it should come from our reserves. So if it's coming from our reserves, should the motion not be that we release it from our reserves as opposed to adding it to our budget? Because I see it, if we add it from our budget, it's money out of our bank, but if it's out of the reserves, it's specifically out of money that's saved.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I think there's a difference because you're adding to the budget, but really, if you're taking out the reserves, that's a different story, though.
Well, I guess, yeah, we could decide if we wanted it out of our savings account or if we wanted to add it to our operating
Don't
budget.
they have a separate one, though? Don't they have a separate reserve for the recreation?
Well, go ahead.
It would be a capital expenditure anyway, so it would go to the capital budget, not the operating budget.
Oh, okay.
And just to clarify, when you're doing a reserve expenditure, it still shows up in that year's expenses. It's going to show like a deficit, and it decreases the amount that you have in your surplus. That's basically the way the auditors represent it in your audited financial statement.
I'll just speak a little bit and might answer some other questions. I know we talked about this at the Recreation Committee meeting yesterday, and we talked, it was more about the tiling and needing to get it done and to be able to open up the pool. I know I mentioned before, I was in the pool once they drained it and looked at the grout was missing in parts of the pool, especially that part of the pool where they would go in and throw the chemicals. There was no grout left. It had just eaten the grout right away. The tiles, you could pick them up and move them. So it needs to get done. There is no question. You can't fill this pool without getting that done. So, I mean, that was the thinking of let's get the tile work done. We knew that there was some other issues, but that was what we talked about really yesterday. And the other thing that we talked about is that at the rec committee meeting is to see if the county would cover half of the costs. We don't know. They're going to take it to their council and see. They don't have to. However, you know, there's a thinking that they might. They have said that they, you know, might cover some of this capital costs. So we're hoping for that, and we'll wait and see. But it's our facility, and under the intermunicipal collaborative framework, it's our facility to repair. Councillor Long.
First, Councillor Danaka, did you want? Okay.
Oh, sorry.
So we have a recreation committee that works together, and they pay half of
Well, it's the operating costs.
operating costs.
Yep.
Operating costs. So if there's reserves in the rec budget, which there is, correct?
Yep.
So
Well,
when we hear the discussions about the fire hall being charged to and interdepartmental costs, it's a cost that has to come out of the rec budget. It's a cost that should come out of the reserves from the recreation department, so that people can see a clear line as to, instead of taking it out of ours, there's a committee and a budget structure for that, and a cost point and a column in there for the recreation committee and for the aquatic center. And so if there's a reserve, like we always are saying about the library with their reserve, then they should be paying it out of their budget. And then it'll be reflected, like we were just told, but Peter's got to pay their weight. And if they got a reserve, don't take it from Paul.
I can answer that question because we talked about it, and I know Rita could. Okay, I'll answer Rita, because we asked that very question.
Yeah.
And the difference is that reserve for recreation is specified for equipment in the recreation facilities, not the capital, repairing of our building. It's, for example, a Zamboni needs to be, or you need another piece of equipment. That's what the reserve is set aside for.
If we were to contact our friends at Big Lakes County to see, not to spend it first and ask for forgiveness later, but if we were to talk to them and see if in fact they see this as being a reasonable exception. But if we want to spend the $100,000 out of our budget, out of the town, where's all this money coming from? If we're so hard done by, then $100,000 here, $100,000 for policing, it keeps on adding up, and eventually it's going to cost somebody a tax increase, and we're already talking about tax increases. I think that we should try and talk with the county to see if they are willing to allow this one time, and let's get the thing fixed properly and take it out of the reserves out of the recreation department.
I get where you're coming from, and I mean, obviously we are talking with the county and they're looking at it. One of the things that's sort of we wanted to bring it to this council because it's getting time sensitive. If we wait and then we wait and I mean, we can't get it done, the pool's going to be sitting there with none of these repairs getting done. So in order to be able to move forward and get these repairs done, it's up to us, our council, to approve it and get it done. If we want to wait, that just means the pool sits there and nothing's happening in it. So the thinking was, let's get it approved, get that repairs done, because it needs to get done, whether it's just us doing it, this is my opinion, it needs to get done regardless of whether the county is going to pay for part of it or not. It's not a question that we can leave it. It has to get done. So let's just get this done so that we can open the pool. You know, we can open the pool, you know, maybe in May or whenever we can get pools open again. If we wait, we're just wasting time when the pool could be open, and then we're putting out the contract later on. Yeah, that's why we wanted to bring it to this council before we had an answer, because it's we need to get moving on it quicker.
My concern is that if we go through with this as we had done before, and then go ask for the money after we started the project, the precedence has already been set that they say no, because we didn't follow the proper procedures. If we're asking them to take in, we should have waited. Well, we will be following the procedure for sure, but I'm more concerned right now from a realistic standpoint. Are we going to open the pool by May? Probably not. I'm not in favor until we see how we're going to spend the money, whether it's coming from us or whether it's coming from the budget, the reserve budget from the rec board. A week or two isn't going to kill us. We wasted a whole pile of money having our people grout and stuff, and this is the end result, is that it's still falling apart. So we should have always gone with a professional outside group. Yeah. So I would like to see that first addressed, and maybe then we can look at the reserve from them. Hopefully they can say yes to that.
Councillor Gilroy?
I need to ask Councillor Courtly a question on this one. Being part of the rec committee, when you brought your motion to us at $50,000, what motion will be brought to the county? Will it be $50,000 or will it be $75,000?
Well, we didn't know the 75,000 last night.
But I think our treasurer can answer, our CFO can answer that.
It will be revised and submitted once our motion is made on the books tonight to submit to the Big Lakes County, who will be taking it to their meeting. It's a meeting that I understand they're having, I don't know, very shortly. It's a workshop type meeting, and they wanted to include it in that. So the revised RFD will be provided to them with the information of what council has approved tonight.
Okay, so they will override their committee's authorization on care of $50,000, and they'll go with whatever we say. Is that what you're basically saying?
Yes. Well, override. It's updating the information that was provided to them. I mean, it depends on how you want to perceive it, but.
All we're doing is advising.
And I'm sorry, I'm just looking at, are they going to be a stickler and say, you know what, you guys only said 50. Now where's the town coming up with that? You got to pay your own after that. That's my concern.
The number was just
Tentative.
A rough number that we needed a number to bring tonight to say this is roughly what it's going to be. We had to have something to agree on so we can get the ball rolling to get the project started, so that once we have the project started, then the county knows something to come in on.
Councillor Danaka?
So, are we going, which of these companies are we going with to do this?
Before we award the contract, which if it's in that $75,000 range, you don't have to do an RFP through the ACP organization. So it's not quite finalized because we want 3 quotes. Okay. And I know of another company that's bringing in a quote for the tile work, and another one that's coming in with the coating stuff. So it's to try and find that third company if we can to give us the 3 quotes. as per our policy. So as soon as we have all that in place and we have a number, at least these are our guidelines. And that's what we're asking from you guys to approve.
So right now, basically the pool is sitting empty and drained.
That's correct.
Okay. So if we don't go forward with this, the pool becomes a white elephant because it's sitting there empty and drained.
Correct.
And what's the point of having a pool then?
Right.
So, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, and I understand where you're coming from, both of you, but, I mean, personally for me, I think this is something that we need to get done. Otherwise, if it's going to sit, then we might as well shutter the pool completely and not have one, because it's just going to prolong. So, I mean, yes, the numbers are a little unclear at this point, but I understand where you're coming from as well, in terms of, well, at least we figure this should be enough. So, yeah, it needs to get done sooner than later. So,
Go ahead.
I just have one clarification thing, and I just want council to understand the difference at the JRC committee meeting that Big Lakes made in regards to where if it's a building asset issue, then it is a town responsibility because we own the building. It's ours to maintain and repair. If it's a piece of equipment like the ice plant, which is a big dollar factor, and if it were to need immediate attention, Big Lakes would step up to the plate because it's equipment, I believe. I mean, the plant is a little unique, but we're talking about a compressor or a pump. That's when those reserves would come into play. I hope that makes a clarification for you. If not, we can take it back to the JRC committee and get it more defined, but that's my understanding of the differences between what is in the recreation reserves and what would not be qualified under that.
Councillor Gilroy?
I don't think that Councillor Long and I are against it at all. It's just where the money's coming from. And I look at it as, okay, then if we needed a new pad for our ice rink, to me, that's the same as the pool. It's not really the building, it's part of the usage within the building. And so, it's really, technically, the building is the infrastructure outside, but the swimming pool is part of the equipment. To me, that's part of the equipment because same as the ice rink. So, and we know we need work done on our ice rink. We've already been told that. So does that mean that when it comes to the money for the ice rink, they're going to say, hey, that's infrastructure. That's not part of our job either. You have to pay for a new ice pad. That's part of our concern is the long run of this. And what we're saying, we're in favor of the pool. I'm sure I speak for Councillor Long here when I say we're in favor of the pool and getting it up for recreation. It's how are we going to be able to do this if our taxpayers hear that we set aside money for repairs and then they hear it doesn't come out of the repairs because we made it so it can't come out of the repairs, but we then have to add it onto their tax bill. That's part of the concern because earlier I said about the disconnection notices. We have people who are not even being able to pay their electric bills right now and their utility bills. And of course, last month did not help a lot of people. And I'm just trying to be fair to the people there that if we set aside reserves, let's make it so that the reserves actually do the job that it's there for. So we're in favor of, I'm not going to talk to you for you, Mr. Long there, but I'm in favor of it. I just want to make sure that it's not on the taxpayer's back.
I can maybe just, I was just going to say that if this is taxpayers' dollars, no matter how you slice it. But let me finish. And so whether it comes out of the recreation reserve, whether it comes out of the unrestricted reserve account, or whether we budget extra dollars into this tax year, it's still taxpayers' dollars, right? That's where it's coming from. Now, and maybe we can get a clarification for what you were looking for. Are you looking for using or paying for this by increasing this year's budget to accommodate that, or were you looking at using some of the reserve funds to do it? So it would come out of unrestricted reserves
Yes.
to make this happen at this point in time. Okay, so we have Councillor Long, and then
Just my question is, you were talking about a bigger number than 75,000 though. When you started the discussion, you were talking about 90-some thousand.
Okay,
So is 75,000 the right number?
yes. So originally, when we came
Yeah.
to the JRC committee on
Yeah.
Monday, the number was tentative at 50,000.
Roughly, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That included tiling. We assumed,
Yeah.
you know what assume does,
Yeah.
that tiling would be cheaper. The quote that came in today for the tiling was 95 alone, just for the surge tanks. So coating the surge tank is gonna be a cheaper method and will give you 15 to 20 years of
Oh, I see what
coverage.
you're- Okay, instead of tiling. Cool.
Yes.
Okay. I missed that.
Originally, we were gonna go with tiling in the surge tank,
Yeah.
thinking it would be a cheaper alternative. And that's where the 50,000 came into
Okay.
estimate. Turns out we were wrong.
Yeah. Once a year is okay.
Okay. That's my one time.
No, it makes sense. Sorry.
That's
Clarify
okay,
that.
it's good to
Yeah.
get clarification.
Okay.
okay, Councillor Long.
So, yes, it's all taxpayers' dollars. But if we already have taxpayers' dollars set aside in the savings or reserve account, the public will see that as their money that they put in towards a reserve. Why are you putting towards my tax bill instead? When we have the money there to fix it, or whether we have it through unrestricted. Through unrestricted, that's putting it out there, paying for it, and then hoping that we get help from our friends in the county. And we all know how I feel about that. I just hope that they would look at it and say, yes, this makes sense. It's a unique year, everybody's struggling, and it's sitting there at how many hundreds of thousands of dollars in the reserve in the rec budget?
Really not that much. I believe it's 150,000.
Perfect. So we have the money there that they let some of that go, even if they let 50,000 of it go. Then we take the other out of the unrestricted, and I don't want to see it going against the tax roll, that's all.
Okay, well, we've already established that it would come out of
Reserve. Unrestricted.
one of the reserve accounts, yeah.
Okay.
And you'll report back to us whether we're gonna make the whole thing or not after the council meets?
Well, once we,
Find out where the rest of the money's coming from. Sorry, I'm a little,
once we hear from Big Lakes County, yeah, of course, I'd let people know.
thank you.
Okay, I think we've all had a chance to speak on this. We have a motion, it was for, as listed in here, for 75,000, that was, okay, I just wanted to make sure. All right, all in favor?
Keeping it as required budget, or are you making some motion to say that it's on reserves?
The council is to proceed with the Groton tile work, make the budget adjustment of approximately,
And that's the budget, that's what's reserves.
okay, let's just clarify that,
You're welcome to make that friendly amendment to that motion, sure, to clarify it to come from reserves.
Okay, that was Councillor Courtly's motion.
Amended as needed.
Okay.
All right. Good. Okay, all in favor? It is carried. And now moving along to our CAO's report and action list. We have the report. And can I get, Councillor Gilroy?
The council received the CAO Rod Risling's report and action list for information.
Okay, and I know we don't have our CAO here officially tonight, so we might not be able to get as many questions answered, but we'll or I guess, is there anything you wanted to add into this? I'm not sure who's, Rita, okay, go ahead, Vern.
No, I don't have anything to add. I was just got notified at 2 o'clock this afternoon that I was acting for the council meeting, so I didn't have a chance to talk to Rod in regards to anything that he has here, so I can't really add anything to it.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Gilroy.
Actually, I wanted to point out something to council and to the public that our CAO did, and I'm very, very, very happy on this one. It has to do with the old hospital. That he has been working hard to get items for our museum, as well as other sites, prior to the destruction, so that we will have some history of the old hospital. And so I wish he was here to talk more about this, but I'm very, very happy that the museum will be getting what they need, and our community will be able to keep something of very great value that they see there. Because I've heard quite a few people on Facebook, as well as people talking in person to me about it, that they'd like some sort of souvenir from the old hospital. And I appreciate the hard work, because I know they're dealing with AHS and the government, and it's not always easy to get what we need here. So I just want to put that as a positive.
Okay, great. I have one question, and it might be more for CFO, and it was, I know to get our the MS, the Municipal Sustainable Fund, or the program funding, we had to send in a report to the government saying that we're reducing red tape, or how we're reducing red tape. I am curious, how are we reducing red tape to get that grant, or what are we doing to reduce red tape?
So we submitted to the government a document that says that we will put on our online website presence forms that were fillable online, and then they can easily pay with option pay. It'll be a one-stop setup. They can do their business license applications, dog license renewals, development permits, and we have till October to complete that task, and then let council know, municipal affairs know how it went, and any feedback that we get from our public by April of the next year.
And does that meet their requirement?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Well,
And
I say yes. I apologize. That's what we submitted to them. They have not confirmed, but that was one of the list items that was on their list as identified.
Oh, that was
Red
one
tape
of the
reduction, yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's excellent. And I like the idea. I think that's a good project.
Yeah.
I also, and you may not know the answer to this, I'm wondering if we're, I don't know who to ask the question to, but I sent some information on that Careers Next Generation project for internships, and I'm just wondering if we are taking advantage of that or not.
I never received any information on it, so.
Okay, don't know any. Okay, I wasn't sure. I just thought I would ask. And I had another question, but I know we won't have all of the answers here. I'm just curious about our cybersecurity on on the town and how, if we're getting, Trinus is doing that, because I noticed that AUMA is supplying, you can buy some cybersecurity stuff from them, and I was wondering if we need to tie into the AUMA's stuff, or if Trinus is doing a good job for us. Oh, Rita?
Can I just ask for clarification on what you're referring to with AUMA? Because they do sell cyber insurance. Is that what you're referring to?
No, this is cybersecurity services through a company called, I can't remember who, but
Okay.
they'd sent out an email this week, or maybe late last week, talking about, that this is a big concern with a lot of the communities, and wanted to make sure that if you don't have coverage, that you may want to consider these guys for getting some good cybersecurity services in place.
We do use Trinus,
Yeah.
and we try and stay on top of them to make sure, like we heard about an exchange issue with Microsoft. And they reassured me to just last week that they had patched that issue. There was a virus, I won't try and say the name because it's just like, anyway, it was all over the news about 4 weeks ago. And so we touched base with Trinus, and they were on top of it. They had it patched, and they do have 2 pieces of hardware that they use, or software. One's hardware, one's software, to make sure that we are secure. They're a big company, and I would think that their reputation speaks for itself, but
Yeah, no, I guess I'm just wondering if we're paying for those services. I'm sure they could provide it, but I'm sure it's going to cost money, because there's IT and keeping your computers up and running and making sure there's network connections. Cybersecurity and making sure that that stuff's all safe and that there's a plan if there is an attack, and all of that kind of stuff it's another service, and you got to make sure you're getting covered for that. And I'm not sure if we are.
I can tell you that based on the invoicing that we get, we have those 2 components identified separately, and I do feel confident that we are covered through Trinus. Whether this other company that AUMA is offering is a better price, I can't tell you that. We haven't done that type of research, but I am confident that there is coverage for both the cybersecurity and the service to back up if there's a fire, if there's whatever. We have external hard drives and off-site hard drives from Trinus that protects us in that capacity.
Good, excellent. That's really good. Good to hear. And Councillor Gilroy?
Sorry, I forgot last time. There's one other kudos going to our administration. I think that you need to publicly say this once in a while. But we did talk about the need for people who are looking for reliable businesses and or contractors. We talked about that last meeting, and within a couple days, it was on our website. So as far as I know, everybody who has an actual business license with the town is listed on there. So that if anyone's looking for people to do their plumbing or heating or all the tradespeople, as well as other ones like that, they can find it on our website now. So I thought that was a really good thing that our administration followed through on.
I'll pass that on.
Maybe one more just question came to mind now. I'm just wondering if any of the new developments, if there's been any approvals or anything happening there, or are we still same spot? Vern?
I know that transportation has given highway development approval for the property just west of the campsite.
Okay, that's good.
And we are working on with MP in regards to progressing with the intersection so that in the future we can develop the rest of that property without having any holdups from transportation. transportation.
Okay, good. All right, that's it. Okay. Anything else? Councillor Long?
Any word on the development across from seed plant?
I don't know. Across from
I believe that's where it's going, right?
Portlace?
Are you referring to the one that was the 25 acres that Dennis Perry used to own?
Yeah.
I haven't heard much about that lately.
Okay.
I know as far as Public Works is, we haven't heard anything for a while.
Fair enough. Thank you.
All right, seeing, I thought we were done. Go ahead.
Did I tell you that they were doing soil sampling there just before winter? Yeah, they did a pile of drilling and soil sampling and stuff.
It brings to mind one more question. Sorry about this, and you may not know the answer. Yeah. The Mohawk, I noticed that there's action on the fence anyways, but no, so have we heard anything from them about it? But they did put up some signs and stuff, but no official word on anything happening there? Okay. They haven't come to the town for a demolition permit or anything. All right, no, I just noticed that development, so I wasn't sure. All right, let's move on then. We have a motion to receive the report for information. All in favor? Carried. Moving on then to our written and verbal reports. We'll start with Councillor Tanaka.
No report.
Thank you. Councillor Gilroy?
I would have had a longer report, but I had 2 meetings canceled. However, I am in the midst of a 2-day forum called the Alberta Rural Connectivity Forum that the mayor asked someone to go to. And I'm just going to give you briefly, today was looking at a number of different projects that have been put into our province so far, and tomorrow's all the technical stuff. So, for example, we heard about Viking and what they did. We've heard about what is happening with Vermilion, and interesting enough, Vermilion used the same 2 companies that our town and county used. Magma and also using Mr. Dobson. And then we also heard what was happening with I think it's I'm trying to think of the county's name. I've got their business model here. Sturgeon County and what they did. And then, of course, the needs of and the challenges of First Nations. That's basically what they dealt with today. They dealt with, and actually, I found it very interesting, taking some notes, and hopefully, if what I remember is correct, all participants get a copy of the recording. And so, when that comes, if that is exactly what they do, you'll get much better notes out of that than you got out of me. But yeah, no, it's very, very interesting on all the different aspects that we've been dealing with for the last couple of years. And there's a group called Cybera, which is really focusing on running this one, plus they're also focusing on rural broadband in general. We had 167 participants at the most for today, and it's going to be a long day tomorrow. So I basically present my report for information, my verbal report.
All right. Any questions or comments for Councillor Gilroy? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Councillor Long.
I missed the CRC last night, unfortunately, and don't have anything to report, but I do encourage everyone to get their COVID shots, and I got mine and feel a little bit of relief getting it, so I encourage everybody to keep wearing your mask, be safe, and get your vaccine. Other than that, nothing to report. To you.
All right. Okay, over to me. Couple of things from Heart River Housing perspective. The first thing is they had a open house that we ran, and I know Councillor Stenhouse was at the meeting. She could have added some input perhaps, but I think there was about 16, 17 people there that wanted to know about the development, so it wasn't a lot, but well, you weren't listening or reading my reports? No, yeah. So anyways, it was interesting, and it went off reasonably well. There was a few little glitches because they used Zoom webinar as opposed to just Zoom meetings. If we would have known it was only this many, could have probably used Zoom meetings, but they used Zoom webinar. But it went all right. They had their board meeting. At the board meeting, some of the key things was the audit came back. Their audit was good. They did not get funding for the Fox Creek project. They were hoping to get some money through the Canada Housing and Mortgage Corporation, but that didn't work out. They're hoping that in the next round of their funding, they might get some, but at this point, they didn't get it. Thursday, they get their actual price from Stuart Olson, so they'll know what the bottom line figure is. Up until now, it's been estimated prices. This will be a fixed price that they would have to pay. So that's coming on Thursday. What else? Yeah, that was basically it. And then we've talked a lot about the Joint Recreation Committee meeting. We've talked about that. There was a lot of talk about the pool and the grout. The other thing that was talked about there was the request from the Red Wings to keep the arena open longer. And as part of what we have sort of agreed to, we said we're not keeping it open longer unless you cover the costs. Administration came up with a cost. They are willing to pay the cost, I believe, to keep it open. In negotiation, yeah. So I don't know. I believe that they're going to go ahead with keeping it open. So there was, I think that's safe to say. The arena will probably stay open, but then we'll have to see what it might make it available for other users too, that if they want to rent some ice, that they can. So if you know of any other ice users, but it is going to get used. And the other thing that was mentioned is, yeah. And they apparently are getting special permission to play games similar to what the AJ was getting and the Dub and that kind of things. And they had just mentioned that they have to get COVID tests every week. They have to have a doctor that's watching their protocols. So they've got a lot of additional costs just to keep playing. But I think they're going to do it. That's their plan at this point anyways. What else? I think that's it. So I'll open it up for questions. Go ahead.
In regard to Heart River Housing, this past week, the heating bills and electric bills have gone out, and of course that really both the county and the townspeople were talking about how high they were. And I'm not saying anything about ours. This is strictly a Heart River Housing question, not a one toward our group. So please keep it for what it is. And that was, how does Heart River Housing deal with these kind of bills for their clients? does it end up going into your operational budget? And if so, will that affect how much the requisition will be?
Well, requisitions for this year are already set, so it's not going to impact the requisition budget. So that's the short answer. The longer answer, for residents, they set a threshold of use of what is normal. Like if they got 2 kids, they should be using this much. If they use above that, like they leave their windows open at 40 below, those residents have to pay what's above that normal threshold. So they try to encourage, good usage of those. And if they're at the threshold, they don't pay anything more for those utilities. It's included in their rent.
Say $500, and they hit 9, they pay the 4, right?
No, their threshold is based on usage, gigajoule usage, so it's not based on dollar figures. So yeah, they don't get impacted by as much by the fluctuating rate of natural gas that our residents are not happy with. Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Okay. No, actually we should. Yes, thank you for that. Who is going to be attending tomorrow with Minister Shandro at 9:30? It'd be nice to have some of our council here so that we make a good showing. He's going to be here at 9:30, I believe, at the county at 10:30, and then he's touring the hospital.
He's got another appointment at 10:30.
Oh, right, yeah. Okay, yeah, and again, we might not, I don't know if we're going to get more than half hour, 45 minutes with him, but that would be max. Because, yeah, I know he's got an appointment with the medical clinic, he's got an appointment with the hospital, he's got an appointment with the county, so there's lots of appointments in there, and we're one of the first ones in the morning. So it's at 9:30.
You know what, today in the west side.
Yeah. So it'd be good. So you're going to make it. You're going to make it. You're a no. You're a no.
Going to try and change her schedule so she can make it, so she's going to be.
Okay, yeah, I haven't heard from her at all.
That's also Margaret. She's thinking she's going to try and change her schedule so she could be here, so.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that'll be good. And just while we're on there, and I know I had talked to Rod about this, but as the new CAO, are we going to have some snacks for... Oh, you've got that? Okay, I wasn't sure, but we should have that.
I will go pick up pastries, donuts if you want, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I was just... And the other thing... Nancy, do we have, like we sent him our list before, do we have that list again that we could give out, sort of that list of key concerns, health concerns?
It's got to be somewhere on the computer. I don't know, because I sent you stuff, but I don't know if I got the last one you edited. But
okay, if you could check for that, it'd be nice to give it to him again. I know we've given it to him once already. More often we give it to them, maybe it'll stick, right? It's like anything. The more we can give it to them, the more it'll stick. Yeah. And well, I won't go into that right now. We can bring it up tomorrow. But there was some other rumors of stuff that we need to maybe talk to them about that's going on at the hospital. That I don't know if it's true or not, but we can ask. Well, rumors that I'd heard was that they were going to close down the physio department.
No way.
Well, like I say, it's strictly rumors. I don't know if it's true. That's what I had heard. And you know what rumors are like, right? I don't know if it's true or not. So there's got to be some fact checking done. I know. And it's a fantastic thing. You get an injury, you can go in there. It's one of the only ones in the region. to me, it makes absolutely no sense, but we know that things that have made no sense have happened before. So we just need to follow up on that. Again, I don't want to, that's definitely not a confirmed thing at all. So, but something that we can find out and ask about it tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, that's it for my report. I move it for information. All in favor? Carried. Councillor Courtley.
I only attended the recreation, joint recreation meeting, and everybody knows everything we did there, so that's what it was. I moved my non-verbal,
Would be a
nothing,
verbal.
or verbal for information.
All in favor? All right, that is done. And then we'll take a short break and then we can, that was quick agenda.